Hey guys, welcome to Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews. I am your host Boyze and this is Raw vs SmackDown, where we see which show won for the week. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, why not like, subscribe and press that bell to keep notified with all the content we make here at Smack Talk Wrestling. Now that's all said and done, let's get on with it. Let's hit the music and let's get on with the review. So we start off this week's episode of Raw with a traditional superstar coming out to the ring, and this week's superstar was none other than the Universal Champion. Seth Rollins comes out, he does a quick recap of what happened at Stomping Grounds before he was rudely interrupted by none other than his tag team partner in life, Becky Lynch. Seth and her have a bit of banter between the two of them before the next thing we know, Baron Corbin's music hits. They both were ready for Corbin. Lacey Evans attacks Becky Lynch from behind. Corbin comes running down. Becky and Seth are both able to beat away their opponents, and this left for both of them to challenge Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins to a mixed match at Extreme Rules. Winners take all. If Baron and Lacey Evans beat Seth and Becky Lynch, they will take their Raw Women's Championships, Raw Women's Championship and the Universal Championship. But if Seth and Becky win, Baron and Lacey Evans will not be going for challenges again in the future. They won't have any more shots at their titles. I thought this was quite a good little opening. I like that Lacey Evans was the one who came out first. I like the stipulation for the mixed match for Extreme Rules. So for me, it was an interesting start to the show, so I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Next up, we had an 8-man tag team match where we saw the Revival teaming up with Bryan and Rowan to take on their challengers, it seems, the Usos and the New Day, Xavier Woods and Big E. This was a elimination tag team match as well. A nice little stipulation on there, which I thought was nice. You don't often see these type of matches. First up to be eliminated was Bryan and Rowan. They were eliminated by the New Day because Daniel had accidentally suicide dived. He's one of the, I think it was Scott Hall. Dash Wilder attacked Daniel. Xavier Woods got the pinfall. The next thing we know, we had a shatter machine by the Revival onto Xavier Woods that eliminated the New Day, and it left the Usos taking on the Revival. Luckily enough, Jimmy Uso hit the Frog Splash to get the victory over the Revival. So the babyface teams won this match. But you know, it is interesting. It was cool to see that the heel teams just couldn't get any chemistry together, but the New Day and the Usos having so many battles and earning their respects for each other really connected really well. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. A very good match for the show. Next up, we had Miz TV. This was the Miz interviewing R-Truth and asking him what he was playing at crashing Drake Maverick's wedding. Truth just stated it's the 24/7 European TV Championship and he's going to get his title. Maverick comes out, he interrupts the interview, he talks to R-Truth about how he ruined his special day. It was his day, and R-Truth accepts a match. The Miz gets a word from behind. I think it was officials saying the match can go on. It'll be an official match and no one can interrupt it until the match is completed. Both men agree, and this led us on to the match itself. So for me, I'm going to give the Drake Maverick the R-Truth bit just because you felt so sorry for Drake Maverick for what R-Truth had done to him. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Then we had the match itself, which was really short. I mean very, very short. R-Truth had one hit on Drake Maverick. Maverick went down, 1, 2, 3. R-Truth retains the 24/7 title, but that didn't last too. R-Truth celebrations didn't last too long, mainly because all the superstars came chasing out after the match. R-Truth and Carmella pegged it and they got away from the ring. It's a bit of a shame. I felt so sorry for Drake Maverick. It's so much character development for Drake through this 24/7. R-Truth as well. These two just have great chemistry. It's just, you know, I don't want to see Drake Maverick look so weak, and this made him look super weak. So for me, I'm going to give the match a 1 out of 5 stars, but there's more to come from the 24/7 Championship. Next up, we had the big build-up match, which was Roman Reigns taking on Shane O'Mac and Drew McIntyre. This match was set up from the night before at Stomping Grounds, where Shane O'Mac said, "You will have to face both of us." Drew and Shane took no time beating the crap out of Roman Reigns. Before the bell even started, Drew attacked Roman on the ramp. Both men were hitting him with their finishes. I think Roman took like 4 Claymore kicks, and he also took a spear from Shane O'Mac. Before it looked like this was it, this is the end of Roman with a coast to coast. Lights go out. That's right, the Undertaker returns. He hits a gnarly chokeslam. It doesn't look like it fully went. He lifted Shane up, and Shane tried to jump. He caught Shane, lifted him, but he just looked like he released him from the top, and Shane fell. Took out both Drew McIntyre and Shane, and both men were left looking strong. I was originally going to give this like a 1.5 for the match, but because Taker returned, I know some people were like, oh, you know, because ratings are down, they've returned Taker. Don't get me wrong, I understand why they've done it, but that was just friggin' awesome. I even put on my notes, holy crap, Taker's back. That's how much it meant. So for me, I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 just for Taker returning. Next up, we had a match I don't think anyone asked for. It was a tug of war between Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. Before the match even started earlier on in the show, we saw Braun dragging a truck with the rope, and then this match was legitimately a waste of time. You had it look like Bobby was going to win. Strowman kept on getting dragged closer and closer to the line, and then we saw Braun's face just change. He started grinning and he started overpowering Bobby Lashley. Before Bobby Lashley could cross the line, he ran across, smacked Braun Strowman and started attacking him with the rope. Probably the best bit about this whole thing was that the rope was being used. It was being used as a weapon. He was graining it in front on Braun Strowman's eyes, and Bobby Lashley left. This looks like we're going to continue having a Bobby Lashley Braun Strowman feud, which I don't think anyone really wants to see continue. So for me, I'm going to give this altogether a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, we had Gallows and Anderson taking on the Viking Raiders. Before their match though, they were back. AJ Styles was cutting an interview talking about his match against Ricochet that night. He saw the conga line, No Way Jose's conga line, and who was messing around but none other than Gallows and Anderson. He told them that they needed to turn into the Gallows and Anderson who were killing it in Japan, who won the Raw tag team titles, and they need to find them again. That really did seem to actually do the job, because Gallows and Anderson controlled the majority of the match until their cockiness yet again cost them this match. It's a bit of a shame really, because I like the storyline which WWE are doing with Gallows and Anderson, pushing them into this. Is Gallows and Anderson going to turn on AJ because of what he's saying, aka the truth? Will be quite interesting to see where this goes. But yeah, Gallows and Anderson lost it, and the Viking Raiders used the Viking experience to finish them off. I'm going to give the match itself a 2 out of 5 stars. A solid match from Gallows and Anderson until they got too cocky. So we were supposed to have Mojo Rowley versus Heath Slater. That's right, you're hearing me correctly. At first when I saw this, I was like, well, at least we're getting a different mix-up. No, this was just a false match. We were actually going to have one of the best segments of the night, the 24/7 segment, as I like to call it. R-Truth got into the ring. Mojo Rowley and Heath Slater was beating everyone out of the ring. Then Slater managed to pin R-Truth, becoming the 24/7 champion. That did not last too long, because R-Truth quickly pinned him back to regain the 24/7 championship before he lost it soon after to Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander getting a huge pop when he did win it, and next thing we know, EC3 hits Cedric Alexander before he can get out of there, and winning his first major title on the brand by pinning Alexander for the 24/7 championship. That didn't last too long because Carmella took the belt off him. R-Truth did a quick pin up, and that's right, R-Truth is now a 9-time 24/7 champion. Woo! That was a lot of title changes in one segment, but it was absolutely hilarious and funny, and it was better than what we got with Maverick and R-Truth. So for me, I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. So much fun and was so entertaining. So we had Kofi Kingston taking on Sami Zayn. This was advertised all wait for the night, but before the match even started, Kofi was in the ring. He was being interviewed. Then KO and Sami Zayn came out. They did a quick improv KO and Sami show interview, asking Kofi question after question, asking him why he's a paper champion and everything like that. That led to the match actually finally getting started. Kofi is brilliant at selling. Every time Sami was doing something, Kofi really sold it. Unfortunately, this match wasn't as good as the previous matches we've seen on TV. This was possibly the weakest one. I think Kevin Owens really getting the heat was fantastic. He was working the crowd. He was high-fiving Sami Zayn. Really taking the heat, but it looked like Sami was about to win before Kofi got a quick pinfall, and getting out of dodge, he was about to leave. Kevin Owens got into the ring with a mic and challenged Kofi Kingston to another match straight away. For the match itself against Sami Zayn, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Like I stated, it was a good match, just not as good as what we've had previously on television between these two. The match itself against Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens was actually a little bit better for the two of them. Kevin made the challenge straight away, like I said. The match itself was a lot quicker. This again was a shorter match than what I was expecting. Both men going out to the ring. I couldn't hear the referee counting. That was the interesting thing. Kofi hit the SOS on Kevin Owens on the ramp, and then Kofi got back into the ring. Next thing we know, the referee's already counting. Did the count out to 10. Kevin Owens loses. Kofi celebrating yet another victory over Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. He's walking up the ramp this time. He's beating both men in one night. Next thing we know, Samoa Joe runs down the ramp, barges past Kofi Kingston, takes him out, and starts beating him up on top of the ramp. It looks like that's it. It looks exactly like it's going to be Samoa Joe who's going to be the next challenger for Kofi Kingston. He goes backstage, then he comes back out again and hits Kofi with a cleaner clutch onto Kofi Kingston, taking him out completely. The running of Samoa Joe after the match, taking out Kofi Kingston. Yeah, great next opponent with Samoa Joe having a fantastic match against Ricochet, losing the US title. I'm actually excited to see these two take each other on. So for me, I'm going to give this now a 2.5 out of 5. I think the running really saved it. If it didn't have that running, it would have been a lot less than what we got. I think it would have been like a 1.5 if Samoa Joe hadn't run it. Next up, we had a singles match where we saw Naomi taking on Alexa Bliss. Again, this was all going on from backstage, where Naomi and Natalya were telling Alexa Bliss she needs to watch out, especially with Alexa Bliss and her reputation of just using people. Alexa Bliss wasn't too happy with this. This led to their match. That match itself was very strong, very good in my opinion. Naomi started off really well until she accidentally did a baseball slide hitting Nikki Cross, because again Alexa Bliss kind of pushed her in the way of that slide. Then Naomi's telling Nikki she didn't mean it. Next thing we know, Alexa Bliss hits the DDT on Naomi, getting the pinfall, getting the victory. Alexa Bliss is beating down on Naomi after the match. She tries to get Nikki Cross to help her out. Nikki doesn't know what to do. You can see the conflict in her, so she just decides to push Naomi, which also pushes Alexa Bliss on the floor. Natalya comes out, and it leads to a tag team match. The match itself between these two, I'm going to give a 1.5 out of 5. I think it was very weak, and you know Naomi and Alexa Bliss have great chemistry from their time on SmackDown. Just a shame they just didn't have the time to really do it that night. Back to the tag team match, which started pretty much straight after the commercial breaks. We did see a Nikki Cross performance, which really impressed me. Nikki was in control. She took on both Natalya and Naomi in this match. Alexa Bliss not involved at all until the very end. Nikki hit the crossroads on Natalya, and then because Alexa Bliss had tagged in at that point, ran in, got the pinfall, and she took the victory. But yeah, like I said, Nikki Cross for me was the most impressive person in this ring. I would like to see Nikki Cross going for titles herself. I'm just a bit concerned about the storyline they're doing with Nikki and Alexa Bliss. I just don't understand it right now. I know it's Alexa is manipulating Nikki Cross storyline, but what's it going to lead to? Is it going to lead to Alexa winning the title and then Nikki realizing what Alexa's done and then her challenging? That would be fine. But yes, very good outing for Nikki Cross yet again. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 stars for her. Last but not least, for Raw that night, it was AJ Styles versus Ricochet. This challenge was made at Stomping Grounds when Ricochet was taking photos with his newly claimed United States title. This was good. This was a great match. The match was interrupted just near the start though, because Gallows and Anderson came out to ringside. Ricochet and the referee looked quite concerned. AJ got out of the ring, told Gallows and Anderson, no, you're not ruining this match, and told him to get out or he won't compete in the match itself. They complied to what AJ had said, and the match was just brilliant. Great takedowns by AJ, the veteran wrestler here, really showing his stuff. Ricochet really, again, I just want to see this match, a proper match between these two where they got 20 minutes. Give me 25 minutes of AJ versus Ricochet. That's money right there. But this was definitely a fantastic main event, possibly one of the best main events we've had on Raw in some time. It looked like Ricochet was going to win with a 360 spit, but it didn't. AJ managed to hit the phenomenal elbow, get the victory over Ricochet. Then both men after the match shaking each other's hands. AJ showing respect to the new champion. Great match, great way to end the show. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 stars. Just I can't recommend it as enough to anyone to watch. This left us on to SmackDown Live for this week, and we had Shane O'Mac we had 2 openings. First one was Shane O'Mac, where he was a backstage opener. He talked about what had happened on the previous night on Raw when Undertaker came out of nowhere and apparently attacked him. Roman Reigns just couldn't handle both Drew McIntyre and Shane O'Mac, and said, well, he doesn't have to worry because both men will be taking both him and McIntyre at Extreme Rules. I thought at first, oh, if this is the opening, nice, isn't it? Sometimes we need that, just like instead of just having someone in the ring and doing the opening like we do usually, it's nice to have it just like a video package and they do the opening, then we can get on with the matches. But I was completely wrong. Shane did warn though the whole roster on SmackDown, if anyone gets on his bad side, they will pay the cost, and someone did pay that cost last night on SmackDown. So for me, because there was 2 openings, this was very weak. It was just like, you know, SmackDown and Raw both meant to be separate shows, but no, it's now feeling like SmackDown is yet again the B show and just continuing storylines for Raw. So for me, I'm going to give it a 1.5 out of 5. The second opening we did have was a little bit better. It was the New Day. They were coming out. They were again, the New Day cut some fantastic promos between them. They were celebrating Kofi's win at Stomping Grounds until, let's be honest, Tom Phillips announced that Samoa Joe will be taking on Kofi Kingston at Extreme Rules for the WWE title. Kofi said, look, you don't win a match with Samoa Joe. You survive it. Next thing we know, Dolph Ziggler's music hits. Dolph comes out saying, "It should have been me," stating that he's talked to officials. Pretty much, the main event of SmackDown Live will be a 2 out of 3 falls match, where we'll see if Dolph wins that match, he will be inserted into the WWE title match between Kofi Kingston and Samoa Joe. I think again, Dolph turning up was fantastic, and the promo between these two was just fun. So for me, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Much better opening to the show than the first opening. This led to the first match of the night, which was the New Day taking on Daniel Bryan and Rowan. It was Big E and Xavier Woods. I liked this match. I thought this was a good match between the New Day, who is, let's be honest, one of the best founding teams on SmackDown. I won't say founding, they did move over from Raw to SmackDown Live, but their feuds with the Usos really elevated the SmackDown tag team division. I think Daniel Bryan and Rowan are doing a fantastic job as those heel champions, and this match was great. We saw a good start to a technical match between Xavier Woods and Daniel Bryan. Again, you don't often see Xavier Woods doing technical wrestling, but here he really got to shine with Daniel Bryan. Woods took a lot of punishment in this match until we finally got the hot tag where Big E took out both Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Then it looked like Daniel Bryan was going to win the match with the label lock on Big E. Luckily enough, Xavier Woods came in and stopped Big E and the lock. And then we had Big E and Xavier finally hit it with the Midnight Owl and get the victory over Rowan and Daniel Bryan. But that didn't last too long, their celebrations, because they were attacked soon after by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who was helped by Rowan and Daniel Bryan attacking Big E. They were saved by Heavy Machinery, and this led to a 8-man tag team match. So for me, the Daniel Bryan Rowan versus Big E and Xavier Woods match, I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. Very good match. The 8-man tag team match though between the New Day and Heavy Machinery versus Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn was we just had a lot less time in it, and it's a bit of a shame. It happens, but yes, I didn't feel like we needed this match straight away. For me, we could have just held on to next week, where that's where we could have got that match and give it some time. But yeah, New Day were nowhere involved in this match. Heavy Machinery pretty much took out Daniel Bryan and Rowan. They were completely eliminated, and that left us, Heavy Machinery versus Sami and KO. The heels attacked everyone at the beginning, which is a nice change. You don't often get to see that, which was smart of them. That's what took out the rest of the New Day. Then we finally got Otis in. Otis got a hot tag from Tucker, who took a lot of punishment at the start from Sami and KO. Finally, when Otis got tagged in, he took out Sami Zayn with the Caterpillar. KO just walking off, saying he just didn't have time for this. A bit of a shame. Like I said, you didn't really get to see everyone involved because two teams had been wrestling already and had a really good match in that one. So for me, I'm going to give this match a 2 out of 5 stars. Like I stated, this match should have waited till next week, in my opinion. Next up, we had The Miz taking on Elias. 2 out of 3 falls match. If The Miz wins this match, he will take on Shane O'Mac that night. This all started earlier on in the night, where The Miz went to see Shane to challenge him for a match. Elias was outside playing his guitar. Elias told him it wasn't going to happen. Shane's not in the mood for you. So The Miz stormed off and told him, you need to give Shane this message. Shane agreed he would only fight him after he would fight Elias in this match. This was an interesting match. I felt so sorry for The Miz in this one. Shane helped Elias get the first pinfall, got involved way too soon. Then the next pinfall, The Miz, it was a much better match between Elias and The Miz, lasted a lot longer until Miz finally hit the skull crushing finale before he get the 3 count on Elias. Shane O'Mac jumped in, costing Elias that point, so it was 1 each at this point. Before the third bout could start though, Shane O'Mac and Elias beat the crap out of the Miz, pretty much hitting him with a spear. Elias with a elbow drop from the top rope. 1, 2, 3, Elias and Shane win. It's just, like I said, it's a shame. The Miz should be treated better than this. I was saying the Miz should be challenging for a world title. Now I just feel like he's just getting buried because of a Shane O'Mac stuff, and I'm not enjoying it. Too much Shane O'Mac in this, too much focus on Shane O'Mac in my opinion, a lot lately on TV. So I'm going to give this a 1.5 out of 5. Next up was a really quick but I was straight away, yes, this is cool. We had Finn Balor getting interviewed backstage. They were talking about how he defended his title at Super Showdown and what was next, who was next to take him on for the Intercontinental title. Before he could answer the question, Shinsuke Nakamura looked up to him, pointed at the belt and walked away. Oh my god, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Finn Balor. Yes, here's my money, just take it. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, Shinsuke Nakamura is kind of, it's past his time and all this lot, and you know, it's too little, too late right now. But for me, just if he can have a fantastic series of matches against Finn Balor, then yes, I will pay big money to see that. So for me, just for that, just that small interaction between the two of them, I'm giving it a 2.5 out of 5. I want to see that match. Next up, we had a singles match where we saw Bayley taking on Nikki Cross. If Nikki wins this match, Alexa Bliss will get another title opportunity at Extreme Rules for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Alexa was away in Japan, where some of the superstars have travelled. I thought this was a great match. I honestly, again, Nikki Cross keeps impressing me in these type of matches. There were a few botches between both Bayley and Nikki Cross, and the ending was a little bit of a botch by Bayley. That's fine, but the match itself was really worked. Both women have good chemistry, and again, I keep thinking, why is Nikki Cross not getting these opportunities? Why is she focusing so much on helping Alexa? I know she's friends with Alexa, but I'm friends with a lot of people, and I still, if I worked my ass off, I wouldn't give my bonus to the person who wasn't there. I just couldn't do it. And you know, it was a fun match. It was so much fun. Nikki did get the victory, so Alexa will have it, and her celebrations at the end, hitting the table, Corey Graves giving her phone, going, ring Alexa. She looks at the phone, drops it, and goes, I will ring her myself in the back. Nikki Cross being hyper, she's like, is fun. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 stars. Again, Nikki Cross needs more opportunities. She needs to be used much better than what they're doing with her right now. Next up, we had possibly one of the funniest backstage segments of the night. R-Truth was hiding from everyone, as they usually do. He was interacting with Carmella. Drake Maverick comes out. He has no referee. He wants to just talk to R-Truth. He talks about how Truth ruined his wedding still, and he goes, look, you know, really sympathetic promo here by Drake Maverick. R-Truth looks like gives him a hug, holds him, and says, if you need the title, I'll lay it down for you. And he gets a referee, and R-Truth goes, psych, and then all the other superstars come running, and you just see Drake Maverick just fall to the floor like, I don't know what to do. I just don't. You know, really, I like this. I think this could be the turning of Drake Maverick turning babyface, in my opinion, because you can see a lot of sympathy coming towards him. So for me, I'm going to give this segment a 2 out of 5 stars. The 24/7 stuff is just the best thing on WWE right now, in my opinion. Next up, we had possibly the worst match on WWE TV for some time, and it's not the people involved fault. It was Ember Moon versus Sonya Deville. This match was literally like a Divas match, in my opinion. You had 2 minutes, and pretty much Ember Moon got distracted by Mandy Rose. Sonya Deville used the distraction to throw her into the post. Got a quick pinfall, 1, 2, 3, and then everyone's like, yep, that's it. It was terrible. I feel sorry for Ember Moon. She is a talented woman who should be pushing for titles, and yet she's stuck in a feud between Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and they are getting the best of her, and I just don't know why. So for me, I'm going to give this match a 1 out of 5 stars. Next up, we had another Aleister Black promo. Aleister's backstage going mental because, again, no one's knocking on his door. No one is ready for his challenge. Again, he's going crazy on this. And then the next thing we know, there's a knock on the door. Everything fades to black, and then we see Aleister Black grinning, an evil grin. This is, again, a very strong promo from Aleister Black. Very much, I cannot wait to see him back in the ring. He's one of my favourite superstars on SmackDown, yet I haven't got to see him since he's been sent to SmackDown Live from the Superstar Shake-Up, and I just want to see him compete now. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5 star. Hopefully next week we will see Aleister Black in the ring. Last but not least for the night, it was the 2 out of 3 falls match between Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston. Again, if Dolph wins, he's added to the Extreme Rules match against Samoa Joe and Kofi. This was a great match. Kofi got the first pinfall by reversing Dolph Ziggler's pinfall attempt. He tried to cheat, tried to hold the ropes while he was holding down Kofi. Referee saw it. Dolph looked really surprised. Kofi managed to reverse it, hold him down. 1, 2, 3. Kofi got the first pinfall. The next round about started really quickly. Kofi missed Dolph. Dolph hit a super kick, and Dolph got the second pinfall, that leaving it 1-all. Pretty much the third one was brilliant. The third bout was just so good, and I think this is a great way to end their feud between the two of them. Kofi missed a Trouble in Paradise. Dolph tried to hit him with another super kick, which missed. And then Kofi finally managed to hit Dolph with a second attempt, Trouble in Paradise. 1, 2, 3. Kofi wins this bout. Like I said, this is a great way to end their feud. They've had some really good matches, and I think, like I stated in my Stomping Grounds review video, we need to see these two have a break from each other. So I think this was a fantastic match, fantastic main event. I think it's up there with the Ricochet versus AJ Styles level of good feud, good match for main event. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Both guys should be very proud of what they've been managed to do with a short period of time on TV. And there you go, guys. That was Raw versus SmackDown for this week. And who's going to win? Who's going to win? So I think with Raw, we had a very great main event. Ricochet versus AJ was great. I think the Undertaker return was just brilliant and fantastic. I think there was a lot, the 24/7 stuff was just brilliant on Raw. I think on SmackDown, the New Day versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan match, the first part, that was really good. And I think the Kofi versus Dolph 2 out of 3 falls match was good as well. I'm going to give Raw, I'm going to give that a 2.5 out of 5. I think that's very much fair. And I think I'm going to give SmackDown a 2 out of 5 stars. So this week's winner, again, is Raw. But what was your favourite part of Raw or SmackDown? Leave it in the comments below, guys. You see on the top there is a poll, so why don't you vote on which show won it for you? But if you do like our content here, please like, subscribe, press that bell to keep notified. And if you want to follow the channel on Twitter, you can do it. It's at SmackTalk YouTube. That's a U and a tube. If you want to follow me on the old Twitter, it's at Boyze88. And I'll see you guys next time on SmackTalk Wrestling Reviews.